Brought to you by the Odd Pod Squad. Comedy, music, reviews, news, history, current affairs, and much more. See more from the home of all your odd podcasters on Twitter at Odd Pod Squad.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Never a Straight Answer, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm Gaz and joined in the studio, as always, the Mr. Feng Shui Taylor.
Yo, yeah, fella.
Yeah, man, are you all centered and aligned? Because, you know, it can lead to some very bad mojo and some very bad juju.
Juju, yeah.
Yeah, mojo and juju. And
I collect that like Smarties, mate.
What, do you collect mojo? And
Mojo,
like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Keep them.
Yeah, it's better than that Pokemon.
Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon.
You get a kind of feeling over it.
Yeah. Well, I can take your word for it. I'm good, man. How are you? Anyway.
Yeah, not too bad. Mustn't grumble, you know.
Mustn't grumble. Yeah. Well, you better not grumble.
No.
I don't take.
I'll be called a whinger.
Don't take no negative shit around these perks.
No. Although the amount of shit I've been watching lately, it's been a lot of negative shit.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, this week's been a really important week for...
oh, God, yeah. I know what you're going to say.
You do, don't you?
About the Brexit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been an important week, and there's been a lot of kind of like, let's shift it to our side, and we'll be, you know, it's an opportunity to...
Well, I've actually sat and watched, I've gone home from work, I've sat and watched them in Parliament.
I thought you might have, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. There was a
actually.
lot of memes going around of, I forgot his name now, but he was an MP slumped in the Houses of Commons.
Mog.
Mog, that's it. And there was a lot of memes the next day where he was cut out and placed like in different scenarios.
Yeah, showing his legs off and shit
that's
like
right.
that.
I posted a few of them on social media and got a bit of a giggle.
Yeah.
But then like the next day they were just in the paper everywhere, so it was just like, I felt a bit like I was a bit ahead of the curve there.
Well, a lot more people know about him now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But that's what you get for it. So show a bit of respect, man. Do you know what I mean? You're supposed to be
but he's
doing a job.
Like
You're supposed to be doing a job there where you know, which is a serious matter. Let's face it, it's the most dire situation the UK have ever been in.
He's relaxing.
And this is how our people are trying to sort it out, having a relax.
You know why? Because the bullshit that's coming from the opposite side is making him a bit more sleepy, because it's the same old bullshit. I mean, Conservatives give him a chance to get an election. So it's the first time that the opposition has turned it down. The first time. So that must mean they're doing a good job.
Yeah, well,
must be.
I don't. You know what? I don't know if it's wise to go into too much politics. Two minutes into the show could scare a lot of people off. But that's it. We're not all about that anyway.
No.
We're all about crazy, mad stuff and taking it a bit.
It's been a mad week,
not too seriously, but a bit loosey goosey. And so you've joined us here in the Never a Straight Answer bunker, where we do talk about a lot of different topics, don't we?
We do.
And this week's no different. Got a pretty interesting one as well this week.
Yeah.
We were talking about it for a while, and we thought, do you know what? Is there an? I mean, obviously there is a bit of a kind of a mystery there, but
there is. But I found it really compelling.
I found it really compelling. I love it. I think it's not even just the guy's life and stuff. Yeah. Do you know so much both of them, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm more of like Bruce Lee was like a fucking hero in the past. You know what I mean? He was like you could learn a lot of people could have learned a lot of things off him. But he was. Did you know he was a poet?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a poet and a philosopher as well.
I can see the philosophy side of it because, I mean, I've seen a couple of interviews with him where he's come out with some pretty kind of far out shit, and it's like, actually, that was pretty good.
Muhammad Ali.
A pretty good analogy. Well, he was a big fan of Muhammad Ali. Yeah. So, yeah. But if you've not gathered it and you didn't click on to what Taylor was saying a minute ago, we're talking tonight about the mysterious deaths of Bruce and Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting topic. And like I say, I've been sucked into it this week. kind of watched as many documentaries and kind of got as much information as I could.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can kind of
clarify,
purvey that over to you today.
Yeah.
We've got loads of news to get through first before we crack on with that topic. So that'll come a bit later on.
Yeah.
To be honest, what have I been up to this week? I've not really been doing much. I've been working quite a lot. So I've still not got over the lurgy from last week, to be honest. So again, I've been pretty quiet on social media. But I'll be back out there soon enough. Don't worry. But yeah, still trying to get the episodes out. And like I say, it's I felt a bit behind this week. So
apologies for that.
But I managed to get quite a lot of information down about this anyway. So it's we've done your own work. We've done my own work anyway. So there we go. So we're all right then. We'll crack on with the news because I know time's a factor nowadays because of this new device. It obviously only gives us 2 hours. So right, well we'll crack on with the news.
Let's do it, baby.
Dun, dun, dun. And that signifies the beginning of the news.
Yep.
And we've got quite a lot to get through. We've got quite a lot of weird stories, some NASA news. We've got some, I take some politics as well, I can assume.
Yeah.
Would you want to kick us off? What do you want to talk about first, Mr. Taylor?
I'd say...
I'm going a bit hoarse.
You're going a bit hoarse?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to talk about... You know what the TR-3B is?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those spaceships.
Yeah,
spaceships that they see about. It's the triangular one, isn't it? A bit kind of like the black sort of triangle.
Yeah, that's the one. It's supposed to be re-engineered from shot down or crashed alien technology.
Sorry, I'm just wrestling with a drink here, trying to put a straw in it.
So, for God knows how long, people have been talking about this, bringing up, little bits of information on it. Well, now we've got the photos.
There's actually been photographic evidence of a TR-3B?
Yes, and loads of them.
Well, I actually seen this. Is this the
one I sent you the other day?
Mass UFO. So, US Marines claimed mass UFO sighting. Is it? Or is it
no, this
else?
is from the public.
Oh, right, okay. Well, right, go for it. So tell us the gist.
Pang Base... in Oregon, people were every day doing their own stuff, and then all of a sudden they've seen this low-flying object, which it ended up looking like it could be the TR-3B. But I've considered that it might not be the TR-3B. It may be something else that they've brought out to show the public.
Trying to make you think that it's something else.
Because if you think it's if it's any UFO that turns up now, all they have to turn around and say, "Oh, it's the TR-3B. That's all right. We were doing operations there, or we were doing this, or
Oh, you know about that now?
Yeah. So it's
not an issue.
It's to sniff. It's to sniff. Get people to sniff away. That's what I'm considering, but this is just my feelings at the minute. But the photos were really good.
Of that they're trying to go in, right, all right, you want a bit of disclosure, do you? Well, it will give you something like you say, something that we actually already know about.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, yeah, well, you kind of knew about it. There is evidence to suggest that it exists, so we'll just let you see it now.
Yeah.
Whereas, what are they working on that is not being what's being covered up now is the question.
A lot still they're still they're not going to let everything out, you know what I mean, and especially not in one go, and they're going to trickle, and we knew they were going to trickle information because there's a lot more information that's going to be trickled down before the year's out, and when that trickles down, then you've still got a lot of highly high tech, and don't forget they'll be getting new high tech every time.
He's bionic, man.
Yeah, there'll be new developments that they
bionic
make
shit
up.
coming out, and then who knows, the hoverboard, flying car.
Yeah, because that hoverboard that's supposed to be out now
Cold
is bullshit.
Well, no, I've not seen a proper hoverboard. Like, I mean, these things that are called
thing
hoverboard.
On what, 2 wheels?
The thing with 2 wheels is not a hoverboard,
yeah, exactly.
right? And anyone who calls it a hoverboard I'll deal with them. On another day.
Needs to go back to school and learn.
Yeah, but like what I if it's not anything like the one in Back to the Future, then it's not a hoverboard.
Yeah. Totally up for that.
Well, is that story?
Yeah.
I found this story and it was kind of bit alien, and talking about things that like we don't know about and disclosure and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we find new species all the time, but there's been a new life form captured, and this was an alien-like creature with curly tentacles was caught off the coast of Alaska. There's a clip circulating the web showing the creature with long tentacles around a tiny orange body, and it was posted online, and it's had more than 1 million views. This is weird. This is why I don't like going in the sea, you see. Basically, this creature that they've discovered, a fisherman caught it. It was
What's he fishing up there for?
Basically, he was off the coast of Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do fish.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to do certain things in Alaska. But
mate, you can do anything in Alaska. They pay the citizens to look the other way. That's why you get a stipend as a citizen of Alaska because you live there. And basically, they know that there's a lot of
dodginess going on.
Mining. There's a lot of and we're not talking about like a bit of underground mines or anything. We're talking about they ravage the land. They literally strip it all away.
Oh yeah.
And then they do a cut, and then they'll get every bit of gold or whatever they're looking for out, and then they say they do reclamation and put it all back, but obviously it's still still
wrecks the area that you're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not how it should be.
They pay the citizens to look the other way and kind of like as a style, just here's a bit of money just to say.
So that's why they always take the piss, like on The Simpsons, where they get paid £1,000 to come to the country. That's
exactly why.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew you were going to bring that up, but
yeah.
The footage was posted by Sarah Vassar Alsford, and it shows an orange animal making rhythmic movements with its curly tentacles. The fisherman that turns the sea creature around to reveal that it had a creepy body and blood vessels underneath. So
the amount of pressure underneath.
It looks like one of the face huggers from Alien.
Yeah, and a bit like underneath a tree or the roots, it looks like that as well.
And then, when you turn it over, it looks like an arsehole or a bit of a butthole, like a chocolate starfish.
You wouldn't want to lick that, would you?
With blood vessels. But yeah, it's essentially, that's what they're likening it to in this article as well, the face hugger. This is just why I won't go in the sea, because there's just so much unknown stuff out there. I mean, how do we know that that's not a poisonous or a dangerous animal? It might look
as soon as it attacks, then we're going to find out.
If it's been kind of up against predators that all of its life
look like humans,
and then all of a sudden, not like humans, but like bigger animals, and then it's had to develop poisons or toxins to get rid of it.
Leave its tentacles alone.
And then we go, ooh, what's this? I've never seen one of these before.
Yeah,
and
but we're finding
it. Then idiots.
We're finding loads of stuff up there at the minute. Absolutely loads, but that's because they're saying because of climate change in the seas and like the ice is melting and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but you're still fucking around with shit you don't need. You're going to be playing around with it and fucking around with it. Well, it's going to fuck the environment even more.
Well, it has been identified anyway.
It
I'm not sure if it is a brand new species, but it's a basket star. Which lives deep under the sea.
Okay.
So yeah.
Because when I first seen it, I would have said starfish.
It kind of does look a bit starfishy.
Yeah.
A basket star has highly branched arms that could help it move easily along the seafloor.
Yeah.
And they can grow 3 feet long, and they inhabit the very deep seas.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it'd be because of all the pressure and stuff like that.
Still don't want to go in the sea, though. Fuck that.
Well, it's a soup of it.
Not on a boat. Don't want to go in the sea.
Stuff, innit?
Well, when you were talking about UFOs earlier, I found this story and I thought it was that you were potentially talking about.
Yeah.
But this one is a former US Marine has claimed that a mass UFO sighting are, basically connected to mega earthquakes and other natural disasters.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's been a lot of them over the last month or two. There's been a lot of sightings of groups, and there even were supposed to have been another one that went over Washington.
Well,
which happened in 52.
Well, I've just basically lost the story there. It just disappeared.
Don't say that.
Well, we can talk about it anyway, because, at the end of the day, this goes back to kind of what I was talking about the other week, about how if we were potentially the aliens that in question, like we're coming back in time.
We are invaders.
In these spaceships or time machines to witness historical events. So and they're always saying that these UFO attacks, or not UFO attacks, but UFO sightings and encounters always happen around historical events, or they happen more so, which makes you think that they could be us coming back to observe a historical event. Yeah,
don't get me wrong, I've always kept that part in the back of my head and thought that that is a possibility. You could never say never. It answers a number of questions on the subject, but I think it's a mixture of multiverse and plus those who are in this verse as well.
Multiverse.
Yeah. I've got to say, because of certain things that certain people who have been known to, tell the truth and
come on, you're going to have to elaborate on the multiverse stuff.
The multiverse of them coming from this side to the other side. Oh,
you mean like the aliens are not coming from a different plane of space? They're coming from a different plane of existence altogether.
And interacting, or maybe being the police.
I like that. Maybe that is a good take on it.
Controlling and helping.
Yeah, that is a pretty good take on it.
Well, a lot of it's, if you think about it, a lot of it had started when we started fucking about with nuclear technology.
True, and plus, it's like with the fact that when these earthquakes and natural disasters, maybe it is a case that they were rather responsible for that in the first place, with sort of magnetic shifts from spaceships or whatever.
Well, you're finding
that they're there to observe, or they're there to help.
Yeah, but you're also finding in when volcanoes go off, you're finding them there. When lightning striking, you're finding pictures of objects within that as well.
Very true, that actually. Yeah, whenever I see kind of lightning strike UFOs, they seem to be in lightning strikes, and I've seen Tyler on Secure Team talk about.
It could be good for charging.
Exactly. Shit. Kind of pulling plasma in from the sun and from.
They collect water as well. They do need water.
Vapor and stuff.
Yeah, there's
potentially. You've got a good point. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not just pretty face. I do think.
Okay. Moving on. No, I'm only joking. Have you got anything else you want to talk about? I've got a fair few stories here.
Yeah.
Got a fair few, actually.
Facebook being investigated again. After,
why? What have they done this time?
Well, they got fined not that long ago, $5 billion for data breach. And now again, they're being investigated again. And it looks like they're going to get charged again. But
are they
that's
just
a company making $20 billion a year.
Are they selling that data, do you think?
They're not looking after it, that's for sure.
Well, that does seem to be the case. And I mean, it's shit because they're at a point, Facebook, where they're invited to Congress meetings and they've got a say on the world stage.
Before the government takes control of it.
And the thing is, they should be kind of, a lot of people are dropping off it now, and a lot of people don't use it as much as they used to.
Yeah, do you know good what I mean? Idea. But it's good to keep in contact, but don't put I've just had a shit and now I'm having my dinner.
At the end of the day, we're putting them in a position where we're giving them our information.
Yeah, it's our fault. I've got to agree with that.
And we need to hope that they are responsible with that information rather than just kind of be flippant and lose it.
They never are. All these technology sites that, you don't get shit for free, you know what I mean? Funny. So you don't get a free game.
It's funny when you sign up to these things, it's like, I do it myself. I sign up, and
I
don't kind of think about my address, my phone number, my email address as being sensitive data.
Do you look at the terms and conditions?
Oh, of course, sometimes, but a lot of the time I'm just guilty of skipping it. And
I am as well.
But you know what? In them terms and conditions, it could say that you're giving up your firstborn and like until.
And you
come knocking on your door and saying, "Well, you did tick the box, Mr. Duncan. You did tick the box, so hand him over."
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
Illuminati,
"Shit, I've not got a leg to stand on, really." And they go, "No, you've not, because you signed away your legs as well.
Yeah,
hand them over.
We've
got a bone
any house,
saw
any
here."
wife, give us all your shit. You ain't got a job no more.
I only wanted a 3-month Spotify trial.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But that's the kind of shit that could come in.
I didn't realise all these terms and conditions, and this is why you should read the small print.
Why do you think YouTube have just changed their condition?
But but again, it's like, what they're saying that if you put anything sensitive up on YouTube, you're automatically not going to get
170,000 people were taken down last week. 100,000 videos have been taken down, and 100,000 posted have been taken down.
Well, thank you to everybody who has joined us on YouTube, because I got one of those notification emails today saying that we've had a fair few new subscribers.
All right, sweet.
We've had over 2,500 minutes of listening. All that rubbish. So cheers for getting on it. Listen again, Brilliant. Keep going, because this will be up now, because I found a way of getting us on YouTube rapid. As soon as I put the episode out, it goes up on YouTube now. So, yay,
mint.
So keeping it current.
We do.
Yeah, there you go.
You got out?
I've got a fair few news stories. Have you heard that David Ike's bringing a new book out?
Is he? He's always bringing something.
Well, this one's about the 9/11.
There's a lot of
conspiracy
that now.
theory. We've not really heard much from David Icke about this one for a while.
Well, New York fire.
I'll give you
they've opened it up again, aren't they?
I'll give you the gist of it. Well, I'll play his advert for he put a thing out on Twitter. Or out on the social media, so where you go.
Oh, this is my new book, The Trigger, the most controversial book, at least, of modern times, now available for pre-order. The elite are going to have to take to their beds. He'd never say that. He wouldn't dare.
Ooh.
Yes, he would.
There you go.
I would.
He would, David Icke.
Good on you as well.
So David Icke, The Trigger. It's his new book, and he's basically the notorious conspiracy theorist David Icke is preparing to uncover the truth about 9/11 in a bombshell new book.
I think we all know it, don't you?
I love how they kind of always lead with the sports pundit, he was into sports, but the sports pundit turned truth seeker.
Yeah,
as a long time argued the world is ruled by an interdimensional race of reptiles.
And he took the piss out of him when
he's had a lot of different conspiracies. He's kind of a bit more in the mainstream now, really, though, isn't he? People kind of do seem to pay attention to him a bit more.
Yeah, because he has got some good info.
He's got some good theories. David Icke claims that the Illuminati, basically a secret society that was formed of world leaders, are planning on kind of taking over and rule. Well, no, they've already taken over me. It's like these. If there is an Illuminati, they are in control. They
but we
are
still
in
got
charge.
As at the moment, we've still got the chance to fight back.
What they plan to do with us is a different story. Well, the 67-year-old man, fucking basically, Mr. David.
67.
Yeah, David. He's getting on a bit now.
Well, yeah,
has now turned his attention onto the 2001 attack on the Twin Towers. So yeah, pretty interesting. I'll read his book, see what he's got to say. So basically, the book's called
his DVD.
The Trigger, the lie that changed the world. Who really did it and why? And that's his book that will be out pretty soon, I should imagine.
Good. I think we're going to hear a lot more on 9/11 over the next couple of years. I think it's because, especially with the New York Fire Department bringing it up again. Do you think
it'll come out and then it'll be like, it was all...
We've got to wait for them to die who was involved first.
Well, we said this, didn't we? And it's like, that always seems to be the case. It's like...
no responsibility.
And if you were to turn around and go, oh, well, the government would never do that. It's like, well, look at MK Ultra and all these other kind of little
projects. They're not looking after you, they're looking after themselves.
They've had going, then it's already kind of like... And then that comes out a few years later and it's like, oh, yeah, it was just something we did when we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I'm starting to think that people may think that I'm a government hater or something, But I'm not really a government hater. I'm just I'm just against them twats who don't do the right thing for the people that they should be doing.
This is the problem, because it's like
there is a lot of good people in there.
I speak to, and you see it in the governments that at this point in UK politics is that you've got party member versus party member, and they disagree with each other. So it's like you can't really judge it, and then everybody's lost faith in all the main parties. Which
never really had faith in them.
A smaller party like the Green Party or someone else has quite an advantageous position because, especially the Green Party, because obviously environmental issues are pretty big.
It's not a two-way system no more now.
To turn around now and say, look, well, we've been here all the time. We've not really pissed anyone off. Yeah, we've got environmental issues.
It's the time to do it,
and we can kind of help sort out the European Union stuff. Yeah, then sweet.
Fuck off. They won't stay.
Well,
so they're not exactly helping.
Well, stay, go. If it means it's all sorted, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what Boris was trying to do, but we're not going down that.
I have found another. Mate, these are cropping up every week now.
Oh yeah.
What was it first? A two-headed cow, two-headed dog, two-headed turtle.
Yeah, turtle. Yeah,
two-headed snake now. Yeah, two-headed rattlesnake.
Told you, they were everywhere, man.
And they've named it. It's called Double Dave.
Double Dave?
Yeah, he's been found in New Jersey, and experts say it's the first two-headed timber rattlesnake ever found in the US.
Not snake, but rattlesnake.
It's a
No, actually, rattlesnake. It must. I know of a couple of rattlesnakes that have been two-headed.
What? I know Jim and Steve.
Yeah,
and now
John and George.
This Dave's come along.
And don't forget the sisters either, Claire and Claretta.
Oh yeah, well obviously they're two-headed, aren't they? So would you call him Dave? Double Dave. That's it. It's like which one's Dave and which one's Dave 1 or Dave 2.
I've got to answer this. Answer me this.
Answer me this.
Here's a question.
Come on,
why are you going to call him Double Dave? Are they going to answer you back?
That's what. No,
you know what I mean? It's Dave. There's no point putting a double in there, is there? Cause,
two of them. That's what I'm saying.
But they're not going to turn around and go, hold on, mate. I'm Dave as well.
You're just confusing the situation.
No, I'm just,
Double Dave, a rare two-headed rattlesnake named Double Dave, has been found in a forest in the United States. The baby timber rattlesnake was discovered in New Jersey Pine Barrens last month by environmentalists from the it's the Heptological Association group. The group is looking after the snake, and it's been studied ever since it's been found by the reptiles and amphibians centre since they've been open since 1977. So yeah.
Do you know how they found him?
Go on.
They heard him in the bushes talking to each other.
He's a daft bastard.
Dave, 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 I can't hear you. Dave, where's Steve?
Yeah, they were passing lumber to each other.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's
doing a bit of logging.
There's that rat, I'm going to chase it. No, I want that mouse.
I thought that was quite an interesting little story. But I think it's like these two-headed animals are cropping up every week now.
Yeah, well,
Let's see what's next. Next week,
shit.
two-headed giraffe.
Hey, yeah.
That'd be a sight.
Two-headed elephant. That'd be a fucking sight.
Fuck me, yeah, I bet it would, wouldn't it?
Or a two-headed lion.
Well, we'll continue our quest for two-headed animals next week, see what we can
so we can find. No doubt there's 2 or 3 species that have
wait until developed. A two-headed human, we find a two-headed guy, and then it's like, well, you just become a podcaster.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're perfect podcaster because
one
mic, talk about having a bit of a banter between
one
yourself.
One concentrates on the...
like, you guys are so on it. Your banter is so good. It's like you've been working together forever.
Yeah, you should know what each other are thinking about.
Exactly. Oh, have you got any more news?
I have. But I'll let you go with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, this one. Do you know what? Everyone's got one of these in the gardens now. Most people have. I haven't. I haven't got kids for a start, but and I'm not very health conscious in that respect. So, trampolines, you can get them at any kind of like hardware store or kind of like anywhere really, like department store. You can, you can get them anywhere, man. You can get a trampoline anywhere. Get one in your fucking chemist. Get one down the local chip shop.
Oh, yeah, you could do it for Fat Club,
wherever you want. Get a fucking trampoline, yeah. They're fucking everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. In fact, so much
Supposedly.
so that my stepdad was a big shout out to John, because this is pretty funny actually. But he was telling me, he goes, I was looking on Google Earth,
Yeah.
and he says, I was really surprised how many people in the area that have just got swimming pools. And I went,
All right.
swimming pools? So I said, let's have a look. So he gets his Google Earth up,
Yeah.
and it was trampolines in people's back gardens. But from
Oh,
an
yeah,
aerial
because you
view,
can get square ones or you can get little circle ones.
but
Can't
he was first thought he had was everyone in on the estate was like super posh.
Yeah,
and
just keeping it secret.
And
Shh,
nobody
don't tell
told
neighbours.
anyone. We've all got a swimming pool, and don't tell him.
Shit, yeah,
But
no
yeah,
one.
it was,
No.
I was like the trampolines. So
Okay, now.
what was it? So, but yeah,
Here's
they're
legal.
dangerous as fuck anyway. Yeah, you see so many fail videos on YouTube. Well, this story is about a 12-year-old lad. He's been impaled by a spring in a freak trampoline accident. These things happen. The kid's got a spring sticking out of his
Little
back.
fat bastard. That's what it happened.
Don't be
Too much weight on it. He broke it.
Well, yeah, obviously, it depends. He's probably doing some stupid flip, hit the edge, and then it's pinged off.
He didn't check the equipment before he used it.
Jamie McQuillan from Lothian in Lincolnshire was bouncing on a friend's trampoline at the weekend when a spring broke off and
What makes it
became
French?
embedded. Not French, his friends.
Oh, right.
Embedded 2 inches into his back.
Ooh.
He collapsed in shock and pain before his dad, Ian, was called.
That'd be
Then
pushing up to
Jamie
the
was
lung now.
rushed off to Sheffield Children's Hospital for emergency surgery, where doctors removed the spring under local anaesthetic. So, yeah.
So he was half awake when he did it.
What?
He was half awake when
Oh,
he took it out.
Oh,
Go, you won't do this again, will ya?
Feel for you. I've been in that situation where they're going, sorry, but we've got no painkillers, and you're like,
You what? You
Okay.
what? Get me a bottle of whiskey.
just get me a stick to bite down on, get me a wooden spoon to bite down on,
Yeah.
and a fucking and a shot,
Snap it now.
a shot of vodka.
Yeah.
It'd be sweet.
Fucking bottle. Forget the. Just shove the bottle down my neck and then give me like 10 minutes. Then you can fucking go ahead on it. But if I start walking out and around, just knock me out or something.
Well, yeah. Jamie said when I was in the waiting room, there was a real nervous. It was really he obviously really nervous, and then it took him about 10 minutes to actually get the spring out of his back. So it wasn't super easy. You know how springs are, mate, when they hook.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah, he's probably hooked onto something, and then obviously the doctors tried to get it out.
Look, it didn't hook on his fucking spine.
The doctor said that he'd never heard of something like this happening with a trampoline. Ian Quillian. What a name he's got. He's called Ian Quillian.
Ian Quillian.
Ian Quillian said he's 62. Why? And I love how they always put the people's ages there.
Well, sometimes you want to know their age, don't you? So you can
Ian
work out
Quillian, 62, said basically his heart sank down to his knees when he saw the accident.
What?
And he called it very, very scary.
Well, not bad.
What? Ian Quillian.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
So Ian,
Sounds like
they named him twice.
Yeah. Weirdly.
All right,
Well,
Ian.
Shout
out, big shout out
big
to
out
Ian.
shout out Ian.
Yeah. So
Quillian.
Ian Quillian.
Ian Quillian.
I'm not making this up. Anyway, moving on. Come on, get some news, Mr. Quillian.
All right, then let's talk about little monsters.
Little monsters.
Well, universities.
Little bastards.
I've been sending a few bolts out because some fault onto Loch Ness because...
Start again. You've just rambled a bit there.
I've just
was
rambled.
You said we should talk in Scottish because I kind of we understand how we word you are saying.
Aye.
Start again. Something
right.
about not
In
Loch
English.
Ness.
Right, yeah. Some universities have been putting bolts on Loch Ness lately because there's been
right.
photographs of a long thing.
A long thing.
Big thing underneath the water. Now, the university is starting to think that they are massive eels.
Eels?
But I can't see that because of the way they move.
I listened to this I listened to this podcast, Kevin Smith's Hollywood Babylon.
Oh yeah,
and every
yeah.
week they do a thing called Liam Neeson's cock.
Liam Neeson's cock.
Yeah, and they do a big a joke where it'll be like, oh yeah,
Where they found Liam Neeson's cock this week. Oh, he's in Loch Ness.
Yeah, it'll be like,
going swimming.
Loch Ness has, scientists at Loch Ness have discovered something really long creeping around in the waters, and then it'll be...
It's Liam Neeson again.
Cock. Yeah,
he's been going swimming.
And as soon as you said that popped into my head. So yeah, I might send that in. I might send that in to the lads over there and see if they can put it on.
Yeah.
The Liam Neeson's cock section. So,
yeah. I reckon the lads will do
that.
So
it's eels. But how big are these eels?
Well,
that people are mistaking them for a fucking monster.
Well, if you think about it, it's good.
I'd say the Loch Ness is kind of like a big eel.
Good way of getting out into the ocean,
isn't it?
You could get out to the ocean. There's got to be little holes that they could go through to the ocean.
Little holes? How big?
Well,
we've just established that these eels
are
big,
massive.
Big eels.
Well, they have to be big. But the photo looks like genuine.
I seen a video actually about this earlier on in the week, and they did look big, but like
Liam Neeson again. Stop swimming in Loch Ness.
Oh, he's got a specific set of skills.
I like that.
Well, so we've talked about Loch Ness. I think we're going to have to do an episode on this at some point.
Yeah.
A fully Loch Ness episode, but like... I
think we sort of do one in the past.
We talked about
one being in Russia,
Japan,
China.
I think we've skirted over stuff in the extra, but... Yeah, not fully.
Yeah, we might have just babbled on, haven't we?
Yeah.
Probably about when I think he was actually when we was talking about Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
We were going into different kind of creatures a little bit.
Fair enough.
And we always wave off a little bit.
Well, I've got one or two bits more news, in just weird news, but then I've got like a bit of NASA news.
Yeah, I got a bit of NASA news and one more.
Anything you want to talk about then, quickly?
Russia and Ukraine.
What's going on?
There's been people swapping today.
Sorry, have you ever had one of these Capri Suns?
No.
The noisy as anything. You can't get the straw right down to the bottom.
You're a sucker then, aren't you? Literally, you're a sucker.
Make a racket.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Apologise.
Yeah, Russia and Ukraine have, to, be a little bit more friendly, have swapped people.
Pinky swear, please.
But
will you be my friend again now? Hello
I
to you.
Did hear one of the people
give you a hug.
Who are going to Russia is one of them who's seen as a witness of who shot down the airline that was flying over.
Okay.
Now, that's a little strange why he's being sent to Russia. That's a little bit odd. And I don't know why he was arrested.
Is it not like an extradition sort of thing, whereas he doesn't know he's been extradited? But when he gets there, they're going to grab him and go,
Possible.
Possible.
Well, they would have already grabbed him. He would be over there now.
Okay,
by now. Yeah.
Maybe,
but he was all
leave
legit,
it to
apparently.
the very last minute, but we never know.
I don't know. I think the UN should check in on that, to be honest. I think they should do a bit of investigation.
He's a bit dodgy. You might be working for him all along.
Well, no, but why would you send a witness to the people who could be against?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like he's going to be testifying against, sort of.
I think there's a little bit. I think there's a bit of forceability there somewhere along the line that they had to do it or something that happened. Because don't forget, Russia's taken a part of the east of their country.
Yeah, true. That.
And the little island. You know what I mean? So they haven't moved out. They haven't declared that it's not theirs.
Yeah, but they kind of still say...
but it's the same in Georgia as well. They've done the same thing.
We're still in charge.
Yeah, but 2005, they did it in Georgia, no reason, and they're still in there. Why aren't they moved out?
All right.
You know what I mean? The UN ain't doing the job, or NATO isn't doing the job right. And they're supposed to be there to do something, and they're not doing it. Well, then they're useless, and then they must be disbanded.
Disband them?
Yeah, disband them if they're not doing it and just sitting down talking shit all day. Getting paid out, then, fuck them off. You don't need them no more.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean?
I was just looking through my news stories to see what I'd like to talk about next, and you know what? I've got a few here. I mean, like...
I've got one.
Okay, I'll put it to the vote, yeah. I've got 3 stories here. Right, well, I've got 2 stories, right? One of them... And I'm happy to not do either of them, but we'll put it to a vote. You tell me, yeah. I've got one about 2 sisters making military history. Yeah.
British?
Yeah, British.
Okay.
Yeah, and then also, I think they're British. A lost Japanese village has been uncovered in British Columbia, in the British Columbian wilderness.
Oh, that's interesting. Go on.
Which one?
Oh, is it just them two?
Yeah.
Go with the Lost Village.
Lost Village?
Yeah.
Okay, do you not want to know why the sisters made history? They've made history by finding a lost village. No one is joking.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't really care, to be honest.
No, in 2004, they was basically going into the forest and basically Professor Bob Muskelly was investigating what looked to be basically just a remote area, and he found an old log cabin in the forest in British Columbia in Canada on the North Shore. News reporters that each spring, the next 14 years, Muskell took his students there to help him excavate what he believed to be some sort of a secret Japanese settlement. So he'd been doing this excavation himself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The site was located on the lower Seymour Convergence. Is that right? About 12 miles northeast from Vancouver. It's approximate size of a football field and contains the remains of more than a dozen cabins, a bathhouse, a road made out of cedar planks, and a cedar platform that may have been some sort of what's that, shinery? Muskell and his students have also unearthed more than 1,000 items, including steaks, beer bottles from Japanese teapots, games pieces, medical bottles, clocks, pocket watches, clothing, buttons, coins, and hoards of ceramics. The Japanese businessman, this is going to Echi Kalasku, basically.
Who's that?
Ekari Keistusu.
EIKCHI.
Basically secured the rights to the nearby area of the camp in 1918. So it's likely that the settlers were originally loggers from their family.
Yeah, and it won't be that old, won't it? It'd be probably interesting to see what they were up to.
It's cool though that they've used it as the teacher or whatever. He's used it as an exercise.
I do like that.
Well. So the fact that they've been going out there and he's been going out there excavating the place for 14 years,
and they're having interest into it now,
do you know what I mean?
Maybe even develop them into
I can imagine,
doing more of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think like the fact that they've he's used it as a training or a teaching moment.
Yeah, he's used it as a teaching aid, and it's been it looks like it's been a good one.
It's pretty cool as well that he's found so much stuff, and he's found like literally a village, and it's a cultural snapshot of how a Japanese settlement would have been, wouldn't it really? It depends if it's only 50 years old. Yeah. Most history in America is only 50 years old anyway, isn't it, or something? True. No offense, I'm sure, as time goes on, your history will get older.
Yeah.
It's just how that's how time works.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Something to look forward to, innit?
Yeah.
So there's my news. I've got a bit of NASA news as well. But only bits and pieces. Well, if you got a bit of NASA news, you can tick it off if you want.
I've got Saturn's. How can I say it? Saturn's rotation has slowed down.
Why? What's happening?
Don't know. Over the last 20 years, it's slowed down over the last 20 years, where it should work out that hundreds of millions of years does that, but it's not.
Right.
And the scientists are pretty confused about it, to be honest. But yeah, it looks like the north. Electric forces are going different to the south.
Right, okay.
And it's like, what the hell's going on there? It shouldn't realistically be doing anything like that.
There's a lot of misinformation when it comes to this stuff at the moment. It's like there was this is another story I want to talk about where with this asteroid shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, there was an asteroid coming in the vicinity, and it's like, but there's still websites out there. We were looking for news for tonight's story, tonight's show, and they're still talking about it. Where the publishing stories like 9 hours ago.
Yeah.
And they're saying, "Oh, it missed us." Oh, and it's like, no shit.
Past
it
us
missed
Friday.
It
was like 3 minutes. What was it?
Do you know why? Right?
Because
Because I think we were talking about this a few months ago, or when we first started the podcast, and it was they just put into place a new sort of out of Earth threat alert system.
Yeah.
Right. So they've put this in, and now all of a sudden we're hearing loads of reports about meteorites. That just says to me that whatever they're doing, they've got nothing. So they're just tracking meteorites. Yeah. So it's like before they put this system in place, those same meteorites and probably different ones were missing us on a daily basis. We just didn't have a means of tracking them.
Yeah, but it used to be. It was only till what was it, about 2016 or something. It used to be that there was about 15 that were flying past us. Every day. Yeah. Now it's working out to be something like 15,000.
Well, even if you think about it, right? Okay, so we've got. I was watching a thing about how much space debris we've got floating around outside the planet.
Shitloads.
We've got tons and tons of old broken satellites and
I'm surprised
screws
the space
and
station
pipes
hasn't been destroyed
and bits of shit that are just fucking orbiting the planet. That we look like a fucking intergalactic junkyard anyway, right? And then you think, all right, and plus we've got unknowns like asteroids and stuff that we can't control, right? What happens when all this shit starts colliding? Do you know what I mean? It's
they've already had one into stuff. It was only
we end up with like something that kind of the gravity will suck all this stuff together and cause...
I'll make it into a moon.
A moon, or that interferes with us, or like creates some sort
of
long problem.
Run, it should come back to Earth and burn up in the atmosphere. But if you think about it another way, is that you're throwing the materials that we use up in the sky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which could be easily brought back... well, not easily brought back down.
No, but they could try and make an effort.
And used, I mean, now, when they fire a rocket up there, there's more control of not leaving stuff up there.
I've got a question for you, right? I've got a question for you, right? They go on about, like, heating up the planet.
Yeah.
Right? So how is creating an artificial barrier around our planet, in the low Earth orbit, that's shielding the planet, making it heat up.
Yeah.
How's that helping?
Because as usual,
no matter how much we kind of reduce our usage and stuff like that, if you're going to persist on not just littering the planet or kind of fucking dumping your fucking industrial waste, basically is what it is, right? Not just in the planet now, but out into the solar system, into the atmosphere, right, or which out into space, right? Which has exactly, it's like it's not right. If we're talking about saying how the Earth's ecosystem and natural order is important, then why isn't that the same when we talk about space? And when we dump our shit into space, are we not causing an ecological problem? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's all one thing being able to go out there and man it and be like, responsible for the stuff we're sending up into the out into space. Yeah. But like to just say, oh yeah, here's a load of our shit, just fucking deal with it. It's not our issue.
But the problem is, as usual, and it still persists to this day, is we think about it, we do it, and we don't think about the consequences of doing it.
Well, we leave it to
we leave it to that'll be down the line, that'll be next generation's problem. Bang, we don't need to deal with that.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the way you should do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but that between that and money, who's going to win money? Yeah, you know what I mean. So it all comes down to industrial greed. Even countries. I mean, we've done it ourselves. This country, you know what I mean. Everyone's done it, but like now we're reaping the regrets afterwards.
Right.
You know what I mean. It's just a case of we need babysitting.
The Hubble telescope's caught something pretty funky.
Yes. We're going to be losing pictures from that soon.
The Hubble telescope has been NASA's eye in the sky for nearly 3 decades.
Yeah.
During its time, the world's most famous telescope has consistently captured crazy images throughout the universe.
From the first picture, it surprised people.
Definitely. I think no one knew that what they were going to do, but it's now captured a Cassiopeia, which is a collapsing from a cosmic cloud. So it's beautiful, actually. So yeah, Google that and have a gander. But it's just, it is, look at that, wow.
Yeah.
It's like I love how it manages to capture all the different colours and the light spectrums as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, this is data sent back to NASA, so it's like you wonder how much kind of you lose. Do you know what I mean in the translation? Well, yeah,
because it gets sent to Australia first, and then Australia has to send it to NASA.
Yeah, or what's been highlighted and kind of edited.
And it's all ones and zeros, and it's all biometric and all that. So you don't. I mean, I remember when they did the first pictures of Mars, and it was all black and white and stuff like that, and then they were trying to work out the colour, and they worked the colour out, and then it come out, and then it come out all big and red.
Like that,
yeah, but then it come again. It changed.
I could make a beach look like Mars if by sticking a red filter over it.
Yeah, but then it changed again to even lighter, and then when we got there, it was even changed again. You know what I mean? It's like
it's all data though that's being sent through the cosmos. It's not exactly like they can.
Who knows, it could get interrupted.
Someone's popping up and taking the memory card out of it and then putting it straight into a laptop. Yeah. It's a case of that it's being beamed. So like you say, you don't know what's being lost, what's being interrupted with. And these images, when you see these glitches, and a lot of the time people go, oh, they're covering something up, or whatever.
It's just data that couldn't get there sometimes.
It's just corrupted data, and they're trying to work with what they've got. Sometimes, a lot of the time, like, look at the photos and you say they've blatantly been doctored.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to move on in a second.
Yeah, well, that's my news for today.
That was pretty much my news as well, so we've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah.
We'll go into the main topic, to be honest. I'm just going to pop my microphone down because...
You've been holding it like a
I've been holding
fiddling
it like
stick.
Freddie Mercury. It's been pretty cool, actually. It's
got his tash.
There we go, but it means I can make a sig.
What's that, sig?
Yeah. Keep these people talking.
Keep these people talking. Right, all right then.
Ask me something. Taylor.
Ask me something then. Tell me something.
It's all right then. Tell us what you know about tonight's topic. Tonight's topic, obviously, we're discussing the mysterious deaths of Bruce and Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, I found out quite a lot of stuff. I mean, I've got to admit, I wasn't a massive fan. I've seen a lot of the Bruce Lee films.
Yes.
But, and I can see the appeal, but I'm not like a big kind of sports fan. So, like, martial arts, it's the only thing that kind of martial arts kind of that interested me really as a kid.
Yeah.
Was like Karate Kid. You know what I mean? And then, as I got into my teenage years, I got into a lot more martial arts films, but it was like stuff like Ong Bak and, I did like Enter the Dragon and,
Big Boss.
Yeah, great. They're great films.
Yeah, mint films. I'm going to watch them again. I haven't seen them
these
for
people
years.
who have an obsession. Do you know what I mean? Like with
every
Bruce Lee.
Every word said. Every move.
In fact, there's a lot of viral videos and stuff like that where there's a little kid, in fact, who's like dressed in the yellow jumpsuit and he's doing all the nunchuck moves perfectly with that on in the background. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, I'll find it for you.
But have you seen that? After his death, that. There was loads of actors coming out with trying to make them stars that look like him, and they just changed the name by a little bit, like Bruce Lowe, you know what I mean, and stuff like that.
Trying to be the next Bruce Lee.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Even today, that there's still kind of like actors who aspire to be as good as Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
I'd say. I wouldn't say Keanu Reeves, but Keanu Reeves is one of those actors who he's got a charm about him when he acts, but he's also kind of worked hard at being a martial arts actor. Do you know what I mean? He's an action. Do
you know
actor.
Lady Gaga does his martial arts?
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga does it. Yeah.
With who?
On her, I don't know. With a couple of people. Don't know. There's a gym down the road. No, but she apparently she does these martial arts.
She does Keanu Reeves's?
No, Bruce Lee's.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You mean, yeah, I know it, yeah. So, it could be...
Well, I've got one about the first time Chuck Norris ever met...
yeah, go for it.
Met him. Well, he was... they crossed each other in a hotel because they was doing a movie together. And so they went to the bar at the same hotel. And... Chuck Norris was on like floor 9 and Bruce Lee was like on floor 7. So they've had a few drinks. They're talking about philosophy as always and exercise and stuff like that, and the workouts, because Chuck Norris was there for a competition. He was trying to be the world champion or something on some kind of martial arts. So they've had a few drinks and they've gone upstairs, and floor 7 comes out and he's there chatting with him, and he thought he'd step out, have a little chat for about an hour, and then fuck off back up to his room. And he started doing like workouts in the hallway, right? So he's there and he's thinking, it's only like this was like at 12 o'clock at night when he first started.
It's like I can do more press-ups than you.
Yeah,
it's like, has he never seen the Chuck Norris website?
Well, that's it. You know what I mean?
Chuck Norris doesn't do press-ups. The world pushes against him, and
he does it with his chin. So they're doing that, and then the next time he looked at his watch, it was like 5 o'clock the next morning, and he was just stunned how much that he didn't realise how much time he'd gone with him, and since then he was like
best mates.
Friends. Yeah.
It was like I seen a few interviews where Chuck Norris was interviewed for like a documentary about Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
and he basically did say he did seem like they had a good friendship.
Yeah. Well, they used to work out together, didn't they?
They used to work out together, and then he'd been in a couple of films
together.
Him.
Yeah.
But like obviously, it was the fact that they trained and they were kind of both living in LA. They both kind of were into martial arts, as well as the acting scene as well. So it was like it mustn't have been very obviously Bruce Lee. I mean, the thing is, people talk about how kind of the film industry is like racist and won't cast sort of ethnically kind of accurate people for the roles. Yeah. Well, if you think it's bad now, just think how bad it was in the 1960s when Bruce Lee was trying to get an acting role. Yeah. Where he was fucking perfect.
He was an actor since 3 months old.
And a what?
He was an actor since 3 months old.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
He was a baby in the film.
And then they put some fucking white dude in the role. Yeah. As a martial arts guy, a kung fu guy. It's like, it's insulting. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll get into that anyway, because I've got quite a lot on Bruce Lee. Yeah. But Bruce and Brandon Lee, the legend, basically were both legends in the martial arts movie scene. Each of them both had their own, both had their own style, and both were rising stars in their own right. And they both had mysterious events that surrounded their deaths. And some people even say that they've been struck with a family curse.
Yes.
Now, bear with me a second. Now, even the Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee were most well known for, like the more well known. There was another Lee member of the family, Bruce Lee's brother, who died when he was just a boy. Yeah. And some say that this is part of the Lee curse. Yeah. But then you think about it this way, right? Was it only the first documented? You know what I mean? Because obviously it was only the idea of there being a curse and that one of these Lee boys had died. Yeah. As a result of it. Yeah. Would only be notable because Bruce Lee's famous.
Yeah,
you know
I got to
now
agree
if you
there.
turn around and say, oh, well,
like
I
now
had a
with
brother
technology.
who died when I was young as well, they could go, oh, that was a curse as well.
Yeah.
Now, unless you start looking really far back into his history, which every person in the family would have died at one point.
That's
Do you know
true.
what I mean? Can you attribute all those deaths to the curse? I don't know. So
I don't know.
Well, anyway, his younger brother died, or older brother, sorry, died when he was just a boy. So it got people kind of thinking that there was a curse.
Yeah.
So this curse on the family, it just, we'll get into this in a bit because it's a bit ridiculous in my book. But a bit of info on Bruce Lee. Starred in Enter the Dragon, made by Warner Brothers, and described as one of the biggest, or basically the biggest American-made kung fu movie of all time, and the most successful of all time. He said he had hands so fast that basically they had to overclock the cameras because they weren't picking his movements up on camera. It was just like a blur. Yeah, so they had to kind of mess with the timing on the camera to make it so they could kind of capture it. Would you say that he single-handedly brought martial arts movies to the mainstream?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I got to say, in China and the rest of the world, you say his name, you know who he is. He's a legend.
Everybody knows who Bruce Lee is.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's just been a legend since, before his death, to be honest. And he showed a lot of people, it's an art of not just fighting, it's defending, and you've got to have stuff like, patience. You've got to have all kinds of different things to get to the stage that he did. You know what I mean? I mean, he's even got his own martial art, which in English,
Chi Kung Do.
Yeah, which in English is Bruce Lee's Kung Fu.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Now, he even had a lot of kind of celebrity students, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Who come into his dojo.
Yeah.
But, you could get... Right, so we'll get into this in a bit, because basically this ties into a couple of the conspiracies that are linked to his death.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was creating his own Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was American. It wasn't. It had the sort of roots in the East, but it wasn't really a martial art in the sense of that it had come from China.
Yeah, it was done in the East, but directed by the West.
Roots in the East, in terms of the thingy. But I think I was kind of really surprised that he was kind of taking fighting styles from all over the place. So like fencing. Boxing, dance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was actually a dancer as well, Bruce Lee. So it was like he was taking all these different aspects and forging it into a style. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, his kind of life took a kind of a major turn, but I mean, obviously in 1973, when at age 32, he was obviously he was smashing it in the film business, but then, all of a sudden it was kind of like, well, we're not jumping too far ahead here. I'm just basically, saying what we already know. Obviously, he was. Go on. What was you going to say there?
No. Go. No, you keep going. I can jump it in later on.
No. Go for it.
I can't remember now.
All right. Okay.
So
basically, he was smashing it on the film side anyway. So he was he was kind of. He was trying to get... The only reason why he was smashing it on the film side, though, really, was because he'd approached, Hollywood, and he wanted to get in the Hollywood door. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he basically... He wanted to... Because he wasn't being paid enough for the films over there, he wanted to go over to Hollywood after the last film and start his own commercial.
Well, the reason why he went over there in the first place was because they weren't giving him the opportunities. So he had a test screening for something. I think it was a film over here in Hollywood, or over in the UK. In America.
Malo.
And what was that? The film
Malo. Yeah.
Right. So he's gone for the interview, and he didn't get the part. But then I think it was given to, a Caucasian actor. And then Or was that the film then?
It was a small part. Well, he had a small little part in it.
They ended up giving him, a couple of months later, the role in the Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Right? So he played the Green Hornet's sidekick Kado, right? And basically everyone watched it just for Bruce Lee because he was just like fucking the cool sidekick who kicked ass, and the Green Hornet took all the credit for it.
Yeah.
So, and there was even a crossover when Bruce Lee and the Green Hornet appeared in Adam West's 1960s Batman.
Yeah.
Right? And Bruce Lee was like, there was a scene that was wrote about him having to fight Robin, and lose. Yeah, so Bruce Lee was pissed off about that, and he didn't want to lose it because Bruce Lee never lost.
He
so
lost
it was a case of he was not going to lose against Burt Ward. No. So he kicked off a bit, and Burt Ward was apparently shitting himself because he thought that
lived in the same.
He was going to get his head kicked in by Bruce Lee. So you know what I mean. So I thought that was pretty funny. But he'd gone over to Hong Kong because he'd been offered a bit more kind of freedom over there to make films and kind of I think he took a bit part, and then once they saw how good he was, they basically turned around and went and made him the star of that film, made him the lead.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just do what you want. Film. Yeah. So he made about 3 films in Hong Kong, which were all really big hits in the States and worldwide.
Yeah.
But then he was basically offered a film by Hollywood to come over and make what was it? Which one was it? Enter the Dragon. No, Game of Death was what he was making in
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, so he's been offered to make Enter the Dragon, and this is where it's all started kind of going off because apparently he'd collapsed and basically had a kind of a moment, an episode where he collapsed and he was taken to the hospital, and he was they basically checked him over and said, mate, you've got the physique and the body of an 18-year-old. There's nothing wrong with you. Yeah. But they did say that he was. I've seen a couple of interviews on this though, so don't quote me. But one of them said, and I thought it was ridiculous that he had an allergy to cannabis, right? And that's why he passed out. And but it had created some sort of watery sort of pressure on the brain, right? Then he's gone to film Enter the Dragon, and
it's the redubbing of it. It was
so he's gone in for the redubbing, hasn't he? That was right. This is when I was saying to you earlier about I remember him being in a room or a studio.
Yeah,
he was in a recording studio.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about it, I was like, why would he be in a recording studio? But he was. He was in a recording studio,
sort of,
and he was complaining that he had a headache. Yeah. So he was given some painkillers, a specific pain headache medication.
Yeah.
And he'd taken it and then literally went to sleep, and he never woke up. This was on July the 20th. He was in obviously. So what?
No. He collapsed there, having complaining of headaches and seizures.
No, he had a seizure later on because he went to sleep and then they couldn't wake him up. He'd had a seizure.
We've been complaining about it for a little while. That
you don't complain that you're having a seizure. You have a seizure and
it
people
depends
notice.
How big the seizure is.
Well, like I say, he's been complaining about headaches. So what are you stopping me for? What are you stopping the show for?
Why? Because he ended up going to his mistress, his flat. It was called Betty Tang Ping.
Right, okay.
So he went there. He was complaining that he wasn't feeling very well. So he'd been given a painkiller.
Right, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he'd been complaining that he had a headache, so he was given a painkiller and went to bed.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he didn't wake up.
That's what I've just said.
Yeah, but you said that at the studio. It wasn't the studio
Well,
that he was
semantics, man. He took right. All right then. So we'd been gone to his lover's base.
Yeah.
Right. Took some painkillers and never woke up afterwards.
Yeah.
Now it's funny. Did you say it was his mistress?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have thought him to be the type. Because
I didn't think that either.
I was watching an interview with his wife Linda, right, and they seem to have had a fucking seriously loving relationship. Do you know, like it was like everybody who talked about Linda said that she was a lovely woman and that she was his rock and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I do remember the name Betty, but when I thought she was something to do with the crew or something. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I wouldn't have thought that it was like you say his lover.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, on the 20th of July, he was pronounced dead. Lee went for a nap and never woke up, and he was basically in a coma. His wife, in an interview with Linda, Lee Cadwell, his wife said that she thought it was really strange that she thought that he'd snap out of it any moment, but he never did. Over 20,000 people turned up at his funeral, caused roadblocks, and not everyone was invited, so you can see how popular Bruce Lee was.
Yeah.
As well, he was just pretty much kind of an enigmatic guy. Anyway, of course, there were an inquiry and an inquest into the death, and the coroner came back with some strange findings. Said that Bruce Lee apparently had a freak allergy to some basically
painkillers,
to some of the chemicals in the painkillers, which kind of he'd had a reaction to, and but this obviously started conspiracy theories surrounding this, and basically said that a lot of different theories sprung up in relation to how and why Bruce Lee had died.
Yeah.
Basically, some saying that he'd been killed off by a rival studio. One of his business associates could have killed him. There's even conspiracies to say that he was involved in the Japanese and the Chinese mafias. And even that a martial artist representative from the Chinese martial arts community had even come for a challenge Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee being quite arrogant and not wanting to kind of, shy away from a challenge, he took him up on him, realised that it wasn't just going to be a quick kick his ass 2-minute job.
Yeah.
They fought for about 6 minutes. Yeah. Solid. Yeah. And Bruce Lee had realised that he wasn't kind of all up there. He didn't have the skills in his arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's when he decided that he was going to kind of learn and create his own martial arts, which is the Chi Dong Ho or whatever it was called.
The Bruce Lee Kung Fu.
The Bruce Lee Kung Fu. So there was a lot of conspiracy theories that surrounded the mysterious death of the fastest and fittest human alive. And there's still people who believe that Lee's death was due to a family curse. Now, this fucking curse, mate, it makes me laugh because when they said what it was, I was like, no. I've heard about this, but I mean, I wouldn't say it was like something that could get you killed.
In the past, I would have said, but since I've looked up more on it and time's gone by, no, my mind on his death has changed to what I previously remember and thought about.
Well, what was that?
What was it? The first.
You don't give too much away. You go, this is what I thought about.
Well, I remember something about there was a flying star that killed him.
A ninja star?
Yeah. That was apparently one of the first items. Then I heard he got shot, when he did the jump through the window and the assassin shoots at him. Then it was like his head was swollen like fuck, and he died from that. And then it was a stroke. There was all sorts of different...
I've never heard all these.
Yeah, there was loads of different ones. I remember it because, like I said, I'm a big fan of his.
Well, do you know what the conspiracy? Do you know what the curse is? And have you heard anything about the curse that was surrounding his family?
Only that about the gun shooting of killing Bruce Lee would have been the same as.
Well, this is the thing.
Brandon Lee.
Well, no, I think that comes down to when.
It didn't happen.
Well, the film, the Game of Death, the Death Game.
Game of Death.
Game of Death,
yeah.
Right. When he was shooting that in Hong Kong, he's been offered the job to go back to Hollywood to film this Enter the Dragon, right? So obviously he died, and he never got back to film. He was on his way. He was heading back there to go and do it, But then obviously he's died, right? So the problem was they needed to finish the film, and they didn't have Bruce Lee, so they finished it with existing footage.
Parts of it, he just hadn't finished it.
Yeah, so. But the thing is, the scene where Bruce Lee dies in that film, it is set where he comes onto a film set, and he's shot on a film set. So the connection between Brandon and Bruce Lee is that obviously Brandon Lee was killed on a film set. And we're going to get into that in a second. So, just want to go into the curse. So, the curse is heavily based around feng shui. The ancient Chinese sort of belief of organizing and your living, basically your living space should reflect the surroundings around. Exactly. So it should be sensitive to the surroundings and the surrounding area and nature and all the rest of it, and it should be perfectly aligned with its environment. And basically say there was people who say that Lee's house was not centered at all, and this was kind of going to bring him a lot of bad juju, bad luck, bad
in the
vibes,
middle of the road.
And nothing but trouble. So basically, would this would a bit of feng shui kind of go a long way as into, do you know, like
No, because I don't think it's a kind of witchcrafty kind of thing. It's just a kind of.
I was going to say, because
you know what I mean. I've never heard of it before.
I've never, but excluding his death, I'd say that Bruce Lee had pretty doing all right. I mean, he had damn good luck. He was highly paid. He was in movies.
Highly paid? You're joking, aren't you?
Was he not highly paid?
Right. I'll give you a breakdown of the 1971 movie that he did, The Big Boss. Right. The budget was just under 100,000, right? The gross was $7,831,423. Today's money, that would have been 44 million. Lee got paid, guess how much?
Go on.
7.5 grand, not even 1%. So he wasn't exactly high paid, and that's why he wanted to go to
1960s. Yeah, obviously he wasn't as paid. He wasn't as well paid as some. No. But in the 1960s, 7.5 grand, mate, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but not like when the other actors around were getting a lot more than that. You know, but like 20 grand.
He wasn't starring in films then, though. When he was playing bit parts in the US,
no, because that was the Big Boss.
He was always playing.
Was his second major film.
Well, didn't he make all of his major films in Hong Kong?
Yeah, but it was the gross money that was coming in was from around the world and the Middle East, and you know everyone loved him. Everyone knew who he was.
Maybe that's why he kind of
no one like him.
Maybe that's why he was like adamant that he wanted to kind of run the show. You know, because he was.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't getting what he thought he should have been getting, and no doubt there might have been a bit of triad. You know, a little bit of problem.
Well, yeah. This is the thing, isn't it? Because like this is another thing. When it comes to his death, was it a case of that he was in deep with somebody he shouldn't have been?
Well, he did have
just going back to this quickly, the feng shui, because apparently there was a feng shui expert that had been sent round to the house before they moved in, so the previous owner, and they said that the expert had said that there was really misaligned alignments in the house, and they placed a small mirror on the house on the outside of the fascia of the house. And on the 19th of July, there was a typhoon that hit the property, removing the mirror from the war, right? And then obviously on the 20th, Lee was dead.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what kind of they'd say about this conspiracy and about how the family curse was a big influence in the death. So, you know, just had to get that out there.
I still don't think it was a family curse, to be honest.
I'd say it was all a bit of a coincidence. And plus, if it's a family curse, why was it the previous owner who put the mirror up? It was the previous owner who got
so it wasn't him.
It wasn't even him. So that's out the window, isn't it? So before you come to me with mirrors and juju and fucking and feng shui, I'd never heard of anything so stupid that feng shui could be cause of a curse. I mean, I could say that I can see how the fact that your energies can be all a bit out of whack because you're kind of like living in a pigsty. Yeah. And you clean up and you get kind of like stuff in order and you feel better about yourself. That makes sense. But to say that just because your house isn't facing a certain direction and in line with a tree, that's going to bring you negative luck or whatever.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
I'm presuming they're saying it is, so obviously they might be right.
Well, there you go. Well, Brandon, his son, at the time was only 8 years old. But he would obviously go ahead and take on the family business as well as the family curse. And, you know, basically, Brandon was very close to his dad. He was always following him around. He was basically there training with him every day. So it's not surprising that he went into the same line of work doing extreme martial arts movies. But when shooting his fifth movie, The Crow, he was fatally shot, and at the age of only 28 years old, joining the 28 Club, another one at 28.
Yeah.
So this was basically started off the curse, the Lee curse again. Started to rear its head. So now this was two people, a father and a son, both cut down in the prime. And obviously there was an inquest and a medical sort of inquisition, and they basically looked at the family curse came up in the media. But on the day Brandon Lee was shot and killed, there were over 50 eyewitnesses, safety tests done, ballistic tests done. So there was cause for concern when Bruce Lee there was cause for concern when Bruce Lee died, because obviously it was like unknown, but these things happen. Do you know what I mean?
It was 3 accidents.
It was like there was more than 3 accidents that day, maybe. Yeah, because like I've got a list of accidents that occurred on set of the Crow. So, but what I'm getting at is. But what I'm getting at is it's cause for concern when something like that happens and it's Bruce Lee because it's medical. Yeah. But when obviously when you've done all these safety tests and there's only supposed to be blanks in the gun, and you've done ballistic tests and everything's handled by one person, and then all of a sudden something like that happens, then there's definite cause for concern and people have to do inquiries. So they looked into it anyway. Basically, they thought something was fishy going on, but there was more to do with like where this gun, what happened to the gun, why did it,
and where did this 44 round
end up coming in and getting a bullet in it. So all the evidence was sent to Willington NC police, who analysed and basically looked into it. Basically analysed the back out of it, and after a few weeks they basically got an accurate picture of events, where the gun had been, who handled it, the bullets, what were involved, where they came from, and what actually occurred was a few weeks earlier they were filming a pawn shop scene. Where somebody had entered a pawn shop. There was a ruckus, bit of a fight, all the rest of it. So they needed stuff to put in the pawn shop on set.
Right.
So they thought, well, there's a pawn shop up the road. We'll just go and buy whatever. Do you know what I mean? We'll go and buy the shop out, for stock.
Yeah.
To put in our set, yeah.
So that's like what they did. Dildos,
no,
and
why
shit.
is it always? It's not a pawn shop like a porno.
Oh, you're
like
on about
like
porn,
a fucking
like
porn,
jewelry.
as in pawn your jewelry, your electric guitar, your bric-a-brac, whatever, gun.
When you say porn,
like the porn stars, on the TV.
Yeah.
Anyway, not
right.
like the.
Yeah.
What I mean?
There's different kind of porn.
Mind in the gutter. So basically, what they did was they took all these. All this stock, but in the cabinet happened to be a box of rounds, right? Like live ammunition. So everything just got packed in the boxes and took to the studio. So when they emptied it all out and kind of got it all on set, the ballistics expert came over and he was like, "Whoa, what the fuck are these rounds doing?" Yeah, he said, "You shouldn't have these on set. These are kind of live rounds." So he basically picked them up, took him to his car, and then he put him in his boot, right? And for 2 weeks he sat there until they got to a point where they were filming a scene and they needed blanks, but nobody had picked up any blanks.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, what can we do? We've got some other bullets in the boot. I can kind of, have a tamper with them.
Yeah.
So he gets the rounds and he takes the lead projectile out.
Right.
Right. He takes the gunpowder out, which literally just leaves the cartridge with the ignition. Right.
Yeah.
The spark. Yeah. You know what I mean.
The charge.
The charge. So he'd kind of created a few of these, but they also needed some dummy bullets for the scene. So a few of them had the lead, some of them didn't. Yeah, okay, some of them were supposed to be blank, some of them were supposed to be. No, I've not got to the point yet. Right?
Yeah, go on.
So they've loaded the gun with these dummy bullets, right? Which they're supposed to, when they strike them, not do anything, because they've already been discharged, right? But all of a sudden there was a pop, right? And what the lead from one of these bullets, there was enough charge to kind of dislodge the lead and keep it halfway lodged in the barrel, right?
Yeah.
So nobody had noticed, nothing kind of was projected, but there was just a little pop. They checked the bullets, everything was fine. Yeah. But bearing in mind, this piece of lead is stuck in the barrel, right? So a couple of weeks later, Brandon Lee's filming his scene, and it's a scene where he's kind of literally got a gun in his face.
Yeah. And
they've gone and got a live blank round, right? It's a... I've wrote this down as well. It's a real real blank, fully loaded. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a pretty powerful blank. Yeah. Because I think it's all about muzzle shot, isn't it, as well? Yeah. When they try and capture that muzzle flash, and so what they've done is they've set this fucking charge off, but the lead that was still stuck in the barrel has hit Brandon and just killed him. Do you know what I mean? It was
found in his spine.
So, yeah.
But they couldn't find it at the time. It went when he went back and said he was hurt. There was no blood stain. They couldn't find where it was.
Well, apparently it was they saw blood. That's how they knew that it was he'd legitimately been shot, because it was literally a pool of blood.
See, I got a little bit different on my information.
Go on.
Well, I've got it basically. What had happened was.
It's not. You best not be literally a fucking.
No, it comes down to one man.
Go on.
Comes down to the prop master, right? When you've got weapons, you have a gun expert there. They didn't.
Yeah, that's who I've just said. That they had the ballistics guy, the guy who basically took the bullets off the guys from the pawn shop scene and put them in the boot.
It should have been,
and then tried to cut corners by not going and collecting real blanks and trying to improvise them.
Yeah, he had to go off with a.
So I totally agree with you.
He had to go and make one, basically. But what was the major problem was he didn't clean that gun for the last 2 weeks, and he had gone through it to get rid of the old
that's what
round,
I'm saying. That piece of lead stayed in that chamber.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks before it was used again.
And it was because he did a ballistics. They brought someone in to do that. They left the gun for 2 weeks. They put the charge in.
Yeah,
and
totally
the guy
agree.
Even said that it's worse than a bullet because it flies everywhere. Basically, it's like a shotgun round, just like everywhere. But apparently, there was they seen. You said they seen blood. That he said that some people who was there said they didn't see any blood. He went back and he thought he was acting, and then he goes, "There's something wrong." So then they've taken him to the hospital. When he dies and they do an autopsy on him, they could not find it at first, but then they found it lodged in his spine.
Right, okay. I heard that like literally they thought he was messing about until they saw a big pool of blood, and then they were like, shit.
Yeah,
something's happened here. But obviously, when they're dealing with these ballistics as well, it's like you're not worried about a gunshot because you're expecting one.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like to somebody to get shot in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at the Crow where he was stood in the table and he was shot like 50 times, you know what I mean? He was
wasn't that the scene?
No. The scene that he died was when he was supposed to open the door with some shopping in his hand. As soon as he walked through the door, he gets shot.
Ah, right, okay.
And sadly, the man who did it, who was? Do you remember the guy who did it?
Oh, yeah, I've got his name here somewhere, actually.
Michael,
kill something or other.
Kill something? No, Michael.
Michael Massa.
Yes, that's
him.
Yeah, Michael Massa, which sadly he's
has he retired? I was going to say
he died in 2017 at 61.
Well, Linda and her daughter, Shannon, say that they don't feel cursed but blessed by the whole thing, and to be part of the Lee family and legacy. So it's not all bad.
Do you remember Michael's name in the film as well?
No, I don't.
Fun Boy.
Fun Boy, yeah. I do, actually, Fun Boy. Would you say that, I'd say that they just put themselves in jobs that were kind of a bit dangerous. Bruce Lee,
health and safety.
Obviously, health and safety was the 1960s and 1970s. It's not the same as it isn't today.
No, for the Brandon Lee one.
I'd definitely
say that there was bad responsibility, and I think the one who actually did get blamed for it was the prop master.
Definitely, totally.
There was an investigation.
He definitely cut corners.
Yeah.
Those blanks shouldn't have been used.
Never worked against.
They shouldn't have modified any sort of live round because of laziness or money or any sort of situation like that.
Didn't get the right person in to do the right job.
Yeah, they got a cowboy.
Yeah.
I'm a cowboy.
He's someone who gets props. You know what I mean? Instead of an expert who knows what he's doing with the weapon.
That's it. A few documentaries that I'd recommend whilst doing a bit of research on this was Curse of the Dragon 1996, which is voiced narrated by George Takei from Star Trek. Do you know Sulu?
Yeah.
Sulu. I love that Futurama episode where it's like Sulu is the star of the show. The other guy is just along for the ride.
Family Guy.
What?
Family Guy. I just picture him in Family Guy.
Why? What was he doing in Family Guy?
Oh well, little Stewie, didn't he? He brought him with his time machine, and then he went off somewhere.
Oh,
and then
that's
he come
right.
back.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee weighed 140 pounds, the greatest martial arts expert ever.
Yeah.
Was in The Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, Fists of Fury.
Yeah.
The Boss.
Which was actually the boss of it was known as the boss in the East, but Fist of Fury in the West.
Ah, right, was it? Yeah. Ah, right, okay. Game of Death as well, which was his last film. Obviously, there was connections between Brandon and Bruce Lee with the Game of Death, and obviously,
I don't think the curse had anything to do with it myself.
What? No, it's just It's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, I think like for Bruce Lee, I think it was down to the painkiller. And what got me going was, do you know why he was taking
down to the painkillers? Because he had a bit of an headache. He said, didn't he?
No, it all started. He had.
I've got a foot itch.
Did his back in?
Oh yeah, he actually right. Do you know what? He did his back
yeah.
in, and it was debilitating.
Yeah.
And apparently, to a normal man,
yeah,
it would have been fucking impossible.
Yeah.
But Bruce Lee being Bruce Lee,
yeah,
he's just like. But apparently, he was a bit of an arrogant guy as well. You know, kind of like, I'm the world's best man.
I was.
Yeah,
you couldn't argue the fucking.
You couldn't argue the point, but the fact is, he's being like humble. You could be humble. This is what gets the girls. It's like being
he didn't want
super.
the girls, he's got a wife.
No, you know what I mean. Well, apparently he had Betty as well.
Well,
but like,
and he had his missus on
what
the
I'm
side.
saying is, it's like if you can be the best in the world at something, but be like, yeah, I know, but like it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
She got the blame for that.
Well, whatever it was, obviously Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee, they both achieved like, you know, an iconographer.
Yeah.
Like they've gone down in history as kind of like two of the most kind of influential martial artists in film history.
I got to disagree here, and the only reason why is because look, Bruce Lee, legend, he's still known to this day. Now Brandon Lee. Now,
Brandon Lee goes hand in hand with it, isn't it?
He was getting there.
I mean, Unfortunately, it's but I mean, it just goes hand in hand with the Bruce Lee, doesn't it? Because it's kind of, there is connections there. It's his son. They were both killed on virtually in the making of films. Obviously, it wasn't like they were killed in the same way.
Yeah.
But they were both killed whilst making films. They were both killed, practicing their martial arts.
Yeah.
You know, there is a connection. I'm not trying to fucking spoon feed you, bend your ear or bend your arm around your back or anything.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is they've definitely kind of, I mean, as Bruce Lee especially, I mean, if you're in terms of like icon, Bruce Lee's definitely got that.
But not as much, for Brandon, even though he was getting to his. He was striding in his career, and then
obviously, well, no, because you for different ways, right? Because obviously, Bruce Lee's got a lot of.
Bruce Lee's a Superman. He's right.
Bruce Lee's got tropes that people will always kind of cotton onto. So there's all this martial arts noises, right? So like that sort of stuff, right? Which everybody does, in every sort of film, TV show.
Yeah, but it's a part of the martial art.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's the Bruce Lee who kind of brought that. The people are imitating Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? There's the yellow jumpsuit stuff.
Yeah,
which is like you could argue that the Matrix, Kill Bill. Keanu Reeves he's definitely today's modern martial arts action star. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We've talked about how they say that they could be a case of that it was just, a case of that he was allergic to a painkiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of conspiracy theories to say that it was other things as well, so that he was actually involved in shady Hong Kong organised crime families.
Yeah, because he reckoned Betty was the one who brought him back, and they wanted him on his own, so she poisoned him, and that's why she sort of gets the blame for that.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, even to this day, she sort of gets the blame for it.
They reckon that he's basically been approached by these people while he was in Hong Kong, saying, come on, we can make some money out of you. Yeah, and with Bruce Lee having a bit of an ego in that, he basically didn't want to be doing people favours like that.
Yeah.
So he basically said, no, I'm not interested, which obviously caused a bit of offence, and they didn't like that, so had him bumped off.
Well, yeah, well, there was a guy that he had an argument with. He actually pulled a knife out to a guy called Lowy, who was known, a.k.a. the Goose Box. I don't know why the Goose Box.
The Goose Box?
The Goose Boxer, I don't know.
Oh,
why
the
that
Goose
is.
Boxer?
Yeah, and it's like, well, would you fight geese for a living or something? Well, apparently he was a gangster, and basically, because he wanted to leave, like, you know, he's pulled out a knife saying, nah, I'll sort you out, you know, if you sort me out and that. And basically, that was it. And that was 10 days before he died. So there could be a connection.
That sounds a bit like
bit, possibly.
Dodger.
So he ain't going to let it go, is
I'll
he?
sort
Really?
you out if you sort me out.
A member of the triad. He ain't going to let it go. So something's going to happen to him. So, you know, it's a bit like the President Kennedy. 10 days later, after he gets a letter, bang bang.
Well, we were talking about Brandon Lee and about in terms of curses. Yeah. The Crow is supposed to be one of the most cursed films ever. The 1994 film The Crow was basically not just even obviously with the problems that happened when Brandon was obviously killed.
Yeah, because there were more people hurt than just Brandon.
But there was accidents and death and almost all manner of things happening, and even the reboot was halted when Jason Momoa pulled out. But on February the 1st, 1993, one of the crew fell into a power line.
Fucking hell.
And there was a fire on the same day.
Yeah,
right?
There was a fire on the same.
There was so many accidents that one man fell through the roof, one man drove a truck through the set.
Fucking
and
hell.
in March 1993, there was a storm and mega winds and 30 inches of snow hit the set, and there was many other things that went wrong as well.
And then
every day they were kind of like, "What the fuck do we have to go to work today? Because this is going to kill one of us."
Yeah, and don't forget their hours as well. They were doing 90 to 100 hours, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And they were doing it for fucking months. So there's going to be tiredness. There's going to be less on the health and safety and stuff like this. I don't think a lot of it's down to curse.
Do you know what Bruce Lee's nickname was?
Bruce.
Lei Sunon.
Yeah, that's Bruce, isn't it?
No, that's Little Dragon.
Little Dragon.
Little Dragon.
Ain't what his missus said.
There, bubbles. Hey. So yeah, that's pretty much all the info I've got. I'm just looking through my notebook to see if I've missed anything now.
Let me see.
Born 1965 was Brandon Lee. Just to throw that out there.
Oh.
Go on. Because otherwise, that's the end of the show. We'll pretty much get into the end of this show anyway.
That's what when he went to the hospital, when he kept having, dizzy spells.
And yeah, do you know, right, yeah, do you know who was, he obviously had his dojo, right?
Yeah.
So he was working, he basically opened his own dojo so he could train people in the martial art of, what was it, Kundonjo, or I forgot it, yeah.
Bruce Lee Kung Fu.
Yeah, Bruce Lee Kung Fu, right? And he had loads of celebrity...
and I was surprised at least two of them.
A few celebrity, students.
Yeah.
James... what was he called? James... Coburn.
Yeah.
Surprising. There was Steve McQueen.
I was...
And apparently Steve McQueen, seen an interview with Bruce Lee where he said Steve McQueen, he had the eye of the tiger, basically. He said he was
known as the bad boy, wasn't he?
He was on it.
Yeah.
He said he knew when to strike. He was a dangerous opponent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe that. And then there was even a basketball player. Go on, who was it? You've got it written down.
I've got it written down.
I've got it. I had it written down. I've got it written down, but I'm terrible at pronouncing things.
Yeah, I am as well. Right.
Some Abdul Jafar.
Karen Abdul.
Yeah. Jabbar. Oh,
yeah.
Right, okay.
If you're wondering who he is, he's the tall fella in his last film.
Yeah.
He's massive, man. I mean, he's like fucking 8-9 foot.
Well, obviously when he had his funeral, everybody kind of stopped traffic, but didn't he say that Steve McQueen and James were pallbearers?
Yeah, I was really surprised on that, and he was like, you know what? That is mint. And someone he calls his brother, Bobby Lee.
Well, yeah, his brother, I seen an interview with him as well, and he was really nice, and he was basically really proud of Bruce.
Yeah.
And but they were like, at first they were like, oh, you're never going to be a movie star, and then it was like they went round to the house and like they watched a film, him and his mum, of Bruce Lee, and they were like, everybody applauded. Yeah. And like gave it a standing ovation, and they were like, oh my god, this is, amazing, this is for Bruce. So yeah, great.
There's one for it. He's also known for, wait for it, the 1-inch punch.
Oh, yeah, the 1-inch punch.
Yeah. Fuck me, can he punch from 1 inch? Oh, my day, he can, like, throw people across the way.
Well, this is it.
He was famous for it, man.
Fucking
famous
kill you with one punch.
Yeah.
The 1/4-inch punch. So, yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode on Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Mysterious deaths, man. Yeah. Or mysterious disappearances always interest me. I mean, I always remember the Richie one, the episode we did on Richie from the Manic Street Preachers.
No, I don't remember that one.
Episode 11, go back and relive our former mysteries. Excellent episode. I think there's quite a lot of information there, and I hope that you kind of piqued your interest about, the whole topic. Like I say, there's plenty of documentaries and information out there on Bruce Lee. And once you start listening and getting in the rabbit hole, you definitely get sucked in.
And I do suggest you watch the I think it was the 90s film called
The Bruce Lee Story.
Yeah, it was a mint film back then.
Yeah,
and I think it still stands today.
I've seen a couple now. I think I'm definitely going to have to start watching. I've seen a few of the Bruce Lee movies, but like I think I'm going to have to go on a Bruce Lee.
I've got them on tape though. That's my problem.
Jeet Kune Do is in Bruce Lee's martial art, which was a Western sort of martial art, I suppose. So we got some shout outs this week.
Good.
Big shout out to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee.
And his family.
And the family, yeah. So I've got a big shout out for the Random Unnamed podcast.
Ooh, random.
Swoosh.
Swooshy, back from holiday. He's got his nice little suntan.
Oh, is he tanned, is it? Yeah, where's he been? Tenerife?
Tenerife, I think, yeah.
Tenerife.
I think he's lying. I think he went Blackpool.
He goes to the same place I do sometimes, and it's I love having a chat with him about Tenerife.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, you were talking about that, weren't you, last time? But you both going to meet up sometime.
Yeah, only when we're in Tenerife.
Not
when we're
in England. Yeah,
fuck that. Big shout out to Agent Coulson. Not give you a shout out for a while. Obviously,
his family a lot.
The Nerdfect Strangers podcast. I want to give a shout out to Derek Vigilant. Also Mr. Crabtree.
Yeah, Mr. Crabtree.
Always working.
I heard from him for a while.
I know, yeah. In fact, where have you been, Mr. Crabtree?
Yeah, go on. You might be busy, but you must have a little time for us.
He might just be like content in the knowledge that we give him a shout out every week.
Yeah,
but just pitch in a bit. Enough. Give us a shout. You give us a shout, and we'll ask us a question.
Yeah, give us a question.
Big shout out to Jerry Whitworth.
Jerry.
He's just basically describes him as a layabout, an occasional writer, lover of a woman.
Fair enough. Someone's got to be.
Big shout out to the Mountains podcast.
Mountains podcast. What do you talk about? Mountains.
Talk about peaks, troughs.
Right.
It's all highs and lows, isn't it? It's all ups and downs.
Yeah. It's a bit hilly,
these guys, he's basically Matt. He welcomes you to the show.
Yeah.
Talks everything, positivity. They're all about just getting out there.
Need a lot more of that in this country, to be honest.
So there's some shout outs. Have you got any? Oh yeah, big shout out to everyone in the Odd Pod Squad.
Yeah.
As well. And go on. Have you got a shout out?
No.
No, it's for your mum.
Yeah, all right then, mum. You're right. How you doing? Anyone who knows, mate.
Yeah, big shout out to anyone who knows us. Yeah. If you don't know us, you get us on social media. Yeah. You can get us on our personal accounts, which Taylor is going to be joining on Twitter very soon. Yeah. I'm going to set him up a page. So he'll be joining Twitter. So you no longer will you have to follow him in the streets.
No.
And you can get him, and then you can get me on Gaz Duncan.
Yeah.
You can
Once
follow
you get me on there, you'll want me off it.
Nah, it'll be right.
I'll get in trouble.
My brother got banned off social media. He got banned off Instagram.
Why?
For saying something about freeing Tommy Robinson.
Oh, yeah, they like that.
And then
like
he got
that,
banned.
No. It's like we can't say,
anyway,
pizza.
So he got, what was it? So yeah, you can follow us on never NASA_never on Twitter, Never Straight Answer on Instagram. You can get us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. God, where am I up to tonight?
Or you can get us on Patreon.
Oh, let me start again. Yeah, you can get us on email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. You can get us on Twitter at NASA_never and Instagram at neverstraightanswer.
Did you get that?
Yeah, they got it. They got it.
Yeah,
you can get on Patreon and sort us out with a couple of quid, and because we've got to give this equipment back.
So it's going to be changing again soon, very soon.
And we're going to be back to our old methods, and it's not as good, and the quality's not as good, and we can't do all the bits that we like to do.
Yeah.
So help us out, quick.
And then, if you can, we might be able to get back on YouTube and show our face again.
Yeah, everyone's been asking us for a live show again, so we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So get on Patreon if you can help us out. It's just literally like, just think about it when you're going for a brew in a Starbucks or something, and you're going, oh, should I get a large latte or should I get a medium one? Yeah. Get a medium one and just throw that extra couple of quid into our Patreon. Yeah. You're still getting
yearly one. The lowest you can put in £1.
And if we've been entertaining you for a year, for a year already, then surely it's worth throwing in a one-off $5.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So anyway,
just a little help here.
Be really helpful. And if you want to get something for your money, you can go and get yourself some, as my colleague here was just about to say, some merch over at Dizzy Jam.
Yeah,
where you can pick up a T-shirt, a mug. Hoodie, whatever you want, a tote bag. So when you're going out getting your groceries, instead of paying 5p for a bag, you can whip out your Never a Straight Answer logoed bag and then go.
And there's different designs there now as well.
Oh, what's that? And you'll say it's a podcast to listen to where they talk about all sorts of stuff. They talk about how plastic bags are
ruining our world.
And the whole concept of plastic bags is a ploy by the supermarkets to make you spend more money by buying plastic bags.
You know what? I watched something the other day about straws.
Oh, plastic straws.
And he was talking about, because they're the ones that are getting banned, not even banned yet. The banned, I think it's mid next year, they're banned. But yet, it's less than minus 0.1% of what we actually.
It's all.
What about bags?
Bags. Do you know what?
5%.
There's an island. I watched a documentary where it was basically like trainers, trainers, and Garfield clocks were washing up.
Just Garfield.
Yeah,
clocks?
there was an island where Garfield clocks were washing up on shore, and they were like, "There's something going on here." I think we covered this actually, and then it turned out that there was a shipping container that came off a boat. Yeah. And it had landed, and then periodically, the tide would bring out more Garfield clocks.
I'll tell you what, it's worth being a pirate these days, just to get all that fucking rubbish and then sell it on.
Do a bit of obviously you're just environmental pirates.
Yeah, but it's still piracy.
Stealing your Garfield clocks.
Well, no one's claimed it, it's mine.
And me, Harry's. I've got a Garfield clock in my cabin. Anyway,
I've got more than that.
So where are we up to? So you can get us on all the relevant podcast platforms, everywhere you get a podcast.
Check us on YouTube.
You can see us on YouTube. Well. We've got some new followers there on YouTube, and you can see our pretty faces.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
On the live episode there, episode 50.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, but I think that is pretty much it, isn't it?
I think so.
Hope you've really enjoyed the show. We'll be back as usual. Yeah. And we'll catch you next time. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Out.
Out. Bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.